Today we have a very special guest on the podcast, Cindy Hollenbeck, amazing strong Italian American roots. She is served in the Navy and is now writing a memoir, Leather Soul. So welcome to the podcast, Cindy. We're excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here, Stephanie. I love your show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about your family's origins, maybe where they come from
Okay.
in Italy and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
I think we were always told we were from Naples, and that's kind of true. But through my research, I found that most of my family is from Alif and Bellona. And I always tell people not Bologna, Bellona. It is it's a village in the whole Campania area, and you can find it on a map. So Alif and Bologna don't look like they're that close together, but they're all part of that Campania part. So like I say, northeast of Naples, and definitely Southern Italian in how we look. Dark, skin in the summertime, lots of black curly hair. My father is one of nine siblings, and six out of the nine have curly hair, and only three have straight hair. Like it's one of our things. But my grandmother, who is not Italian, she also has curly hair. So we really got hit with the curly hair stick. So that's where we're from, basically.
Perfect. Yeah, there's no getting around the curly hair for you. It's
No, it's there, and two of my kids have it.
yeah, my mom is one of seven, and
Okay.
most of the girls, well, there's only three girls, but two of them
Okay.
have super curly hair. Have
Really?
you done a lot of researching genealogy on your family?
I did. Excuse me. So I know that I have two uncles. So some of my family is gone. My dad is no longer with us. My uncle Jimmy, my uncle Moose, who his real name is Ardeen, they're no longer here. And I have two uncles, John and Joe, and they also have done genealogy, but they didn't do the DNA test.
Ah,
So my biggest mystery growing up is that we were told our last name was Stillo, Stilloe.
okay.
You don't see a lot of Italian names that have an E at the end of them in that way.
Yeah.
Like Carissone maybe, but not Stillo. You would think it was be spelled Stillo. So we were always told that my grandpa Stillo had stayed behind in Italy, and my grandma, her name is Giuseppina Frajola, or Josie, that she came over to America in 1910, and with a different husband, and his name was Luigi Reali. Okay, so this is the narrative we're told our whole lives, that the great grandpa is still back in Italy, and that our name Stillo was way longer and it got butchered at Ellis Island. Okay, none of this is true.
Of course.
Okay. I love listening to your show, and you're talking about looking in the newspaper, because I do this as well, and it's like the name is spelled 10 different ways, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so frustrating
Yep.
because you might miss some great info because you can't figure out if sometimes they would just Americanize the name as
Yeah.
Still, like instead of Stillo, it's Still. It's so frustrating. So but here's what happened. This is so fabulous. So I have been on both MyHeritage and Ancestry, and I have located cousins, or they've located me, distant.
Nice.
And they're like, I built the tree on both, but I'm using Ancestry now only because I started building the tree more on there, and I would just want to go to one place.
Yeah.
I found some cousins, and they're like, hey, I got some great documents about your grandparents. Well, I finally learned my grandmother Josephine, who they said came over in 1910, was here as early as 1907. Got a news clipping. I'm going to share it with you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I printed these out last night. This is one of the stories that you're gonna like. Okay, so first let me just make sure that I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. So I find out, got a marriage certificate. Josephine Frajola married John Stellato, Stellato.
Okay.
That is our last name. Okay, I'll
Gotcha.
just end the mystery. And it was not butchered at Ellis Island. It was because they did not stay together and it was weird circumstances, I'm guessing.
Okay.
But even though we were told she didn't come over until 1910, that my grandpa was a born on the boat Italian, and that Josephine's daughter Angelina died on the boat of dysentery, none of this is true.
Oh my
Okay. This
gosh.
is just, I know it's just you. I know you've talked about this on your show, and I wanted to say this to you as well. The reasons they kept secrets, it was never malicious,
Mm-mm.
right? It's because they wanted to fit in, they wanted to be normal, they wanted to be American,
Yep.
and affairs, pregnancies, all that stuff was buried, and
Yeah.
divorce. So I have a lot of empathy and grace for my family that had to hide stuff, but the newspaper doesn't lie.
No, it
Oh,
doesn't.
and DNA doesn't lie. And so I'm going to share this with you. This is from Wednesday, May 29th, 1907. No Angelina, my great aunt who passed away. No Tony, my grandpa. Just Josephine and John. Okay. And I won't read the whole thing, but I'll just kind of give you the gist.
Sure.
Okay. Here's the headline: Disfigures her for declining to marry him. Okay.
God.
Rejected suitor slashes face of pretty girl who is on way to church. Okay. And basically what it says, with deliberate intention, for of disfiguring her for life, John Stelota, they spelled it wrong. Okay. A young longshoreman of Oliver Street slashed the left cheek of pretty Josephine Frajola, 17, who was on her way to confirmation.
Wow.
The girl has persistently refused to marry Stellato, right? And it's like, no one else will marry you now, he remarked as he left her screaming in agony and covered in blood. The assault took place in an alleyway alongside the house of the girl's aunt on Madison Street. Josephine was on her way to confirmation. Detectives weren't able to get John because he jumped over a fence. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Someone just sent me this in March of this year. So this is a 100 year mystery.
Yeah.
And just to add to this, when we were growing up, we were always told it was Luigi Reali, the second husband, who carved Josephine's face. So that's another
Wow.
misinformation we got. This shows that it was John who did it. And then she goes on to marry him a year later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Holy
right?
smokes.
Holy smokes is right. I sent this to my uncles because one lives in New York and one lives in Florida or South Carolina. So, we text and stuff, but I wanted them
Yeah.
to see this because this shows she was in Manhattan in 1907. She marries John in 1908. They have Angelina. And then in 1910, the my grandpa was born, I'm guessing in 1910. My grandpa Tony Stillo, really Stellato, because I found this cool, and someone sent it to me, a census report, and it's Josie, John, Angelina, infant Tony, and then John or Josie's parents. I'm guessing they both have the same names.
Yeah.
Both of their parents are named Antonio and Angela Rosa.
Wow.
But yeah, the census record shows them all living in this house, and it has Tony, and it says under a year old. That's the last time we see John and Josie together.
Okay.
But I did my DNA, and we are connected through Angela Rosa Romano. Our DNA connects, and so John Stellato is my great grandpa, and this is a
Wow.
mystery we've never known. So excited.
Oh my gosh. And it's so like that feeling you get when you find the newspaper article and then you can connect it with a census record to just
Yep.
verify because you always question the newspapers a little bit. There's
Yep.
some there's truth there, but when you can
Yeah.
connect it, boom, it's so amazing.
It's so true. Yes. When I said the newspapers don't lie, I should read. That's not 100% true. Right. But you're right. Like it's just making sure that the records, and I know you do this as well, right? Because this is what we're doing, but like connecting. When I found that, and of course their name is spelled wrong in the
Of
census,
course. Yeah,
but I know it's them because it's just way too coincidental not to be them. Same
absolutely.
street, same family, it all connects. And their name, instead of Frajola, it's Fronla, Fronla. And I'm like, oh,
Way to
you
Germanize
people.
it.
Right, right, always. Right,
Well, and then, I think
Anglo-Saxon.
that's where our intuition comes in, where we're like,
Yep.
we know that that's our family. We know that that's
Yeah,
this family we're searching for. So do you
yes,
think that that's why, and you may have said this and I missed it,
it's okay.
because she said it was Luigi because
Yeah.
she married John.
I don't know because here's the thing. She and John, I can't find any divorce records. I mean, I've been looking. But can you imagine how common the name Giovanni
Oh,
Stellato is?
yeah,
It's John Smith, right? I mean, that's
for sure.
basically what it is. So I have all these Giovannis. One of them is in an insane asylum at one point. There's some, and I get there and then the record is that they're married to someone else. I'm like, well, he could have married someone else, but then it's not him. So I wonder if, and my grandmother never learned English, so there's an issue, right?
Sure.
And she died in 1951, and right after that grandpa was like, no more Italian in the house, we're American, right? So
Yeah.
I wonder if I don't know how you could get a story so wrong, you know. And so I mean it means that Josephine would have had her face carved at, like her face would have been scarred as early as the wedding,
Yeah.
you know. And I sent you the photo, the only photo I have of her. You can't really see it.
Yeah.
um and I just wonder, Luigi turned out, they stayed married for a really long time, so I just think it was an error. I really can't tell you
Yeah.
whether it was purposeful. But I think that her relationship with John must have been pretty crappy. And I think they only stayed together the 3 years. Angelina did end up dying, but I can't find the death record. And then my grandpa ended up being an only child,
Wow.
which is insane. And I think that's why he wanted so many kids.
Sure.
Like he
Yeah.
he loved having all of us around. He was a fabulous grandpa. So,
Bring that family back.
oh yeah,
Oh
for
my
sure. But
gosh.
yeah, so it's just so funny when I tell you what the narrative is and then I tell you what the truth is, or as close as we can get to the truth, and it's just like, okay,
There
like
we are.
yeah, here we are. But like the point of like everyone has a right to know where they come from. I
For
firmly
sure.
believe that. And
Yeah.
it's not going to be pretty, and it is going to upset people. And we'll talk about that as we move on because there's more.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well,
Right.
let's talk about your father then.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
or do you want to talk about the family deli?
Okay. Oh, okay. So I'm glad you brought this up because again, I can't find anything in the paper. My family said it was called Pepinel's, which is a nickname for Jessipina.
Okay.
And my grandmother is actually, her name is Pepina in one of the census records. So it's a
Wow.
nickname, right? If you think Giuseppe, Giuseppina, Pepina, it makes sense. But they said the deli was called Pepinel's, and all I can find in the paper is like the little records that show they were grocers. It doesn't
Oh,
give the name, right? But what's funny about the deli, excuse me, is that just this is so like something you'd see on The Sopranos. So the deli was at the bottom, you know, and the house was on the top. So they
yeah.
lived upstairs. And since she passed away in 51, my father would have been 5. So I'd never got any stories from my dad or anything. But I do have for you. Okay. October 5th, 1942, grocery store looted of $1.50 and cigarettes.
Oh no.
Okay. A burglary during the night at the Louis Reale Grocery on 170 Henry Street, which is where my dad came of age. which netted $1.50 in pennies and 26 packs of cigarettes.
Holy smokes.
26 packs, yeah, nice pun. Was being investigated today. Acting detective head Frank B. Casey said Mrs. Reale, that's Josephine, reported the break this morning and explained she heard glass break at 2 a.m. but did not see anyone around the porch. Investigation disclosed that the burglar used a glass cutter to cut a hole in the front and that the thief later removed a window sash to gain entrance. Now, I hate to disparage my grandpa Stillo, but I almost wonder if my grandpa didn't do this, right? Because it's his mom's deli. But at this time, I think grandpa was, he wasn't living at home anymore. Like he was married, or not married, but actually this might have been when he was incarcerated, which we'll talk about. And then 1944, 2 years later, woman pleads guilty in liquor sale. Mrs. Josephine Reale, proprietress of a grocery at 170 Henry Street. Again, they don't say the name of it.
Yeah.
Pleaded innocent in city court to a charge of selling distilled spirits without an ABC license.
ABC.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. She appeared and changed her plea to guilty, and she was fined $200. She's charged with 2 federal violations: possession, A1 sale of unpaid distilled spirits, and carrying on a business without a license.
Oh my gosh. $200 is a lot back then.
It would be a lot. I've listened to you when you say what it is in today's money, and usually I think what do you add, like 30%? I don't know. It's probably a lot.
Yeah.
We'd have to figure it out. And then it says, let's see, wait. She pleaded innocent to 2 counts preferred by alcohol tax unit agents before the United States Commissioner on January 14th and is at liberty under $2,500 in bail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is a lot of money. And when I read this to my uncle, he said, "You know who's hiding the liquor there, don't you?" He goes, "That's Grandpa." And I'm like, okay, well, if this was in 1944, that's the year my Uncle Louis was born. So Grandpa was living there with my grandmother, my grandma Stillo, Edith. And I know it gets confusing. Edith Osborne is my paternal grandmother, my dad's mom. So they were already living there.
Oh my gosh. And this was all in New York, right?
This is all in Binghamton, 4 hours west of New York City, like driving. And right on so I always say Binghamton sits on top of Pennsylvania. So like it's so funny. It's just like Moscow and Pullman.
Sure.
I guess I went back home in a different way. Binghamton's right here, and Pennsylvania, my dad, we would be out driving some nights and he'd have a little bit too much wine and we'd be in the woods and it would say, "Welcome to Pennsylvania." And I'm like, "Dad, you went too far."
Turn it around.
Yeah, because they're so close. It's really interesting. You know, Taylor Swift is from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I have got a fabulous story. Her video, Back to December, that was shot in Binghamton.
Oh, cool.
At the time, the only place in the whole United States that still had snow on the ground was Binghamton, of course. And when you watch the video, the boyfriend is walking through neighborhoods, Binghamton neighborhoods, and then he's sitting on these bleachers at an old school, my old school, MacArthur Elementary.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cool. And that's in the book.
That's really cool to watch that and see. So you grew up there.
I grew up in Binghamton, and that's also where Rod Serling is from. And Rod Serling is the writer of The Twilight Zone. Oh. So they have all this cool stuff in my hometown. They have carousels painted with, Twilight Zone episodes. They have a statue of Rod. He went to the same high school that my dad did. Yeah. I always find it funny too that Binghamton was the first place to have an inebriation asylum, an asylum for alcoholics. Okay. In the whole country. And it's also home to Rod Serling. And I'm like, how could you be normal growing up in Binghamton? So,
Right. Woo.
yeah. Um, but so that's the stuff about the deli. Yeah, so we were going to move on to my dad. So that's actually a nice segue because um okay, so let's see. Grandpa Stillo, his name is Anthony Stillo. My dad's name is Anthony Stillo. My brother Tony, his name is Anthony Stillo. So
Oh,
you
wow.
got yeah. So many Tonys in our family that I named my son Vincenzo. So he is Vinny. He goes by Vinny. Um,
Nice. I've got an Uncle Vinny.
I love the name Vinny. Vinny, Vincenzo. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a great Italian name. Um, so yeah, okay, so Grandpa and Grandma got together in 19, oh gosh. Well, let me just say it this way. The photo I sent you has my Uncle Louis is the little baby in the photo Josephine's holding. That's 1944. That's when he was born. Dad was born in 46. And it basically goes, okay, Louis, Tony, Josie, Ardeen or Moose, Angie, Rosie, Joe, Jimmy, Johnny.
Oh, wow.
Got them all. Yep.
Yeah.
So out of all of those kids, my dad's the second kid. He was very sickly. He had asthma and allergies. He was really skinny. And in school, the nuns used to make him stand up in front of the class and drink a pint of chocolate milk because they thought he was, yeah, they thought he was being starved at home.
Wow.
He wasn't, but
Just the way he was.
he was so skinny. When he graduated from high school, he weighed 98 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he was so little that he could pass for 11 at the movie theater until he was 18. This is what he told me.
Wow. Oh my
He was just a
goodness.
little guy, yeah. But for all that it's funny, right? The small are usually mighty, and he was an amazing human being. So here's the stuff that he's told me that I can share with you. He's a truth teller, like we are. So like he was always telling me stuff and brutally honest. We got in lots of fights, but we were really, really close. So he told me he wanted to be an astronaut when he was a kid, but terrible eyesight, asthma, allergies, probably wouldn't have made it through the things. And
Right.
so, right. So most of my family went to work at Gotham Shoe Factory, which was in Binghamton. They also had Endicott Johnson Shoe Factory. Like Binghamton was a manufacturing hub way back when. Cigars, computers, shoes. It's all super fascinating, very robust community. And so my grandpa Stillo, Big Tony, or what they called him Chief, he he would bring his kids to Gotham's on the weekend because manufacturers, what you do is you go by your numbers. So
Mm.
you're making a shoe, right? He would have his kids stand in the manufacturing line and be like, okay, you got the sole, you got the welt, you got the upper. And what he would do is he would boost his numbers
Oh my
because
gosh.
let's say you didn't make 50 shoes in the week. He'd bring the kids in and the kids would boost his numbers and you got these. Oh, it's so cute. You got this in there standing at the manufacturing line making the shoes. Okay.
That's amazing. What a
It
cool
is.
photo, like image that is.
Oh, it is. It is. My Vinny's dad, my former husband Eric, he came to Binghamton a couple of times with me, and when I told him a story about the shoes, he was like, "That is just unbelievable." Like that. Imagining that is so nifty. Okay, so my dad, and you probably know that this is true. Southern Italians, they didn't want their kids to get an education, they wanted them to work.
Yeah.
So my grandpa Stillo, he did not, I think he left school in 6th grade, maybe 7th grade, but his kids, most of them graduated from high school. Some didn't, but like you didn't have to graduate from high school back then, and
No.
you would still make a good living.
Yeah.
So my father graduated from Binghamton Central, same place as Rod Serling. They should erect a statue to my dad.
Right.
And he was in 1965, he graduated. He met my mother. Now, here's what's interesting. My mother is a immigrant. My mother is a German immigrant who came to the States when she was 11 because her and her family were Jewish sympathizers. So they were in a displaced persons camp. And after the war, they went to Holland because her dad is Dutch and her mom is German. So my mom came over to America when she was 11. I learned all this much later, obviously.
Yeah.
And she and my dad met in a pizza parlor. He's 5'6", she's 5'9", like Sonny and Cher.
Oh.
Fell head over heels in love. She becomes pregnant with my brother Tony. They get married. Then they had me in 1968, and then in April of 1969, my dad kicked her out of the house. It was over. And I
Okay.
never saw her again until I was 24. So I
Wow.
grew up without her in my life. And my dad he's 22 years old and he has a newborn baby and a 2-year-old son. And he goes and takes like these placement tests. And they said he'd be a great forest ranger or an electrician. And I'm like, forest ranger? The guy's allergic to everything. He can't go out in the forest. Right.
Hives every day.
Every day. He couldn't do it. So what he did instead, and this is really cool, and I wish we still had stuff like this, and maybe we do, and I don't know about it. But there was a federally funded program where you could do an apprenticeship in shoe repair. And one of the photos I sent you shows who he worked for. He went to work at ye old cobbler shop with a guy named Danny Affatato. And my father, I don't know who took care of me and my brother. I really don't. I know we had a slew of babysitters, but I mean, I was a baby, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't have any solid memory until I'm about two. And I have a very, very vivid first memory that's in my book. So anyway, so then in 1971, Danny dies and he's only 35. And
Wow.
it's sketchy. Like my father said it was drugs, but I don't want to disparage Danny because he still has family members living. And I looked and they did an autopsy. I looked at all the newspaper and they just said natural causes, but like 35. So I don't know,
Yeah.
you know,
That's pretty
um,
odd.
it is odd. And again, Danny has relatives, still alive. So I don't know what happened. And, let's just give him some grace, right?
Sure.
So Danny's widow came to my dad and said, I really want you to stay on at the cobbler shop. Can you do that? And my dad said this was the most difficult decision he'd ever made in his life. And he was like, I can't do it. I have to go into business for myself.
Yeah.
So he got a $10,000 loan from my dad was such a sweetheart. His friend's grandmother didn't trust the grandson, but trusted my dad and said, Tony, I'm going to lend you the money. Lent him $10,000 and he started the leather shoe shop in 1971.
Wow.
Yep. And so by then I was, almost 3. Tony was 5, and we went to work with him every single day. No
Oh
more
my God.
babysitters. And I got to tell you, so it's still there, but not the shoe shop. The Vestal Plaza is where it was. And all this is in my book. The Vestal Plaza started in 1962, and it was basically a department store complex. So like there's a grocery store on one side, a department store here, a department store in the middle, and then all these cool ethnic shops. Like you got Arto's Barber Shop, you got Mario's Pizza, the Gondola Restaurant, Kaplan's Kosher Deli. So my childhood was so unique, and I didn't know it because
Yeah.
when you're a kid, your childhood is your childhood. You
That's your
think
norm.
everybody, it's absolutely, but the leather shoe shop was sandwiched between Discount Records and Mario's Pizza. Mario's Pizza was owned by Mario Francavilla, who was an Italian immigrant, and the giant New York City slices. Oh God, it was so good.
Yeah.
And then
Amazing.
so good. And then across the way was Kaplan's Kosher Deli, and that was owned by Harold Ferber, and his son Robert became really close with us. And I would go over there and steal steal pumpernickel rolls off the display case, and I would bite it and then put it back.
Oh,
like,
no.
not steal the whole thing. And one day my dad says to me, he's like, honey, have you been taking bites out of the bread at Kaplan's? And I was like, yes. And he goes, gosh, Harold thought he had a mouse. Can you not do that anymore? So our childhood was basically roaming this plaza, which was a community in itself. And because my father was a really nice person, like people are always like, your dad always smiled, he was always laughing. They kind of let Tony and me run like feral children there.
Yeah.
We stole stuff. We were little hellions, but like if dad caught us, we'd be in big trouble. It's not like
Sure.
he said, yeah. So, but anyway, so dad opened the leather shoe shop, and boy, I'll tell you, when he first started, it was Monday through Saturday, 9 to 9.
Wow.
And all he did was put tiny little advertisements in the paper because that's all he could afford, right? He'd go to Brooklyn to get leather, and then there'd be leather hides, giant leather hides on the walls. And when he had no customers, he made stuff. So he made belts, purses, pants, vests. I have his messenger bag that he made in 1971.
Cool.
It's kind of ruined because he put it in his basement, but I still have it. And he was an amazing craftsman, but I'm a kid and all I know is he's my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then what took off, and I have a really cool article about this I can share with you, is it's such a cool photo of him. He must be like 24. He's wearing a striped shirt because it's the 70s, and they're asking the local Binghamton news reporter went around and asked a bunch of leather crafters, and he said leather crafting is not a viable career because it's so expensive and labor intensive. He said shoe repair is the only way that you can make a living. And he said, but my customers come to me because leather is guaranteed for life. It just makes my heart
wow.
go pitter patter. He's so amazing. And I found this article on him last year.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
been dead since 2012. And I'm like, why did he never show this to me? Because as I told you in my email, when he passed away, I said, I don't want your money. I said, I want the photographs. Like, he left me thousands of beautiful photographs because he was a photo nut, even though he'll say, I'm not the one that takes photos, it's my sisters. And I'm like, you're full of baloney, Tony baloney. My dad loved to take photos. He took 8mm silent movies. And I have all of that. And I never saw this article until last year. And when I read it, I got so sad because I thought we could have laughed about him being a forest ranger. Forest ranger. I wonder, he was so blue collar, he never would have called himself an artist.
Oh,
but he was an artist. He was
absolutely.
A true artist. And so, so here's the thing. Once the shop took off, he was open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. 9:30 to 6, 10 to 6. He liked to drink, so he had to sleep in the mornings, right? He had to have his vino. And then on Saturdays, he was open. Like he was just able to cut his hours because he'd made money.
Yeah.
And so then in 1986, my brother Tony came home from, he was in the Army. He bagged out of the Army. He really hated it. And he was living in, I think like Redding, California, and met a girl. And he said, Dad, I want to come home. So my dad was like, okay. And so my dad paid for Tony and his girlfriend to come back to Binghamton. And my father was going to retire, even though he was 40 something. Like he made a lot of money and he was very financially astute. So he told Tony, why don't you buy the shop for me? And then Tony said to me, hey, I was working at McDonald's at the time. And my brother's like, why don't you quit at McDonald's? You can come work at Dad's shop with me. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. He goes, yeah, you can sew leather and I'll fix shoes and you can wait on customers. And I was like, This is so fabulous. Like my brother and I were super tight. We're gonna be in dad's shop. Like dad's gonna move to Florida with his wife and my little brother Jack, and everything will be great. So then dad went to Florida to kind of give Tony a 3 week trial period to see how he liked being there on his own, if he could handle the workload and waiting on customers. And then my brother got in a motorcycle accident and died on May 3rd, 1987. My dad was in Florida. We had to call him, emergency
Oh,
flight home. Yeah, and the whole what's so tragic about my brother's death, other than I loved him more than anybody in the world, save my kids, um, is that our dream just blew up. Like,
yeah.
so dad had to stay in this store. I found these recently. He never shared this with me, but I found in the newspaper. Oh my gosh, it's so heartbreaking. I looked at the date. It's after Tony had passed away, and it's like, I'm willing to train you to be a cobbler. Like, come to my
Mm.
shop. I know, isn't that
Oh
heartbreaking?
my gosh. Because like you said, it just got
It
started, the
just got
whole
started.
dream. And
It absolutely did. And so nobody would, I mean, shoe repair is a lost art, right? Like
yeah.
you can find cobblers in Italy still, but like everyone buys their Payless shoes, they wear them for a year and then they chuck them, right? My
Yeah.
dad was an artist, and this is a hard job, and his son was set up to do it. So what my dad did is he sold it to his younger brother. And I won't go into it too much because it'll end up maligning the memory of my uncle, but the shop failed in 2 years and my dad
Mm.
was furious. But my
Oh,
dad went ahead and he moved to Florida, and I joined the Navy. I was like, I'm getting the heck out of Binghamton. I Without the shoe shop, I needed to go to college. And my
yeah.
dad, God bless him, didn't really care about me going to college. He's like, you want to go to college, you pay for it. And so then I ended up joining the Navy. So that's the
Oh
story of the
man.
shoe. Yeah, yeah. And I have so many beautiful photos of that shop. It was so colorful. And
Yeah.
during the 70s, my dad sold bongs and bowls because he was a hippie and his friends were hippies. And then this is really this shows you what kind of person he is. In the 80s, people started coming in and wanting glass pipes so they could smoke crack. And my dad's like, I'm not selling anything anymore. He got rid of all of his drug paraphernalia.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was really telling.
That's, oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Because yeah,
know.
he put people over profit.
He absolutely did. I mean, I know he must have bartered shoe repair because like I used to go into the Gondola restaurant, and it was a cafe, like an American food cafe, owned by two Italian folks though, Romolo and Aggie Doritas. And Aggie was the sweetest, nicest woman on the planet. And Romolo, every time he saw me, he was like, my messy hair and my holy jeans. And I'm like, can I have a free hot dog?
Just even a bite and then I'll put it
I
back.
know. Right. And Aggie would always give me free food. And I think that she and my dad probably had a deal. Like, she's like, Tony, my belt is broken. And he's like, bring it over. Cindy can have her hot dog and you can get your belt fixed. So,
Thanks for feeding my
you
kid
know,
lunch. I'll fix your belt.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, as a kid, um, I just never thought that, I mean, actually, everyone's childhood is unique. However, growing up with a father who owned a shoe repair shop in this plaza is very, very nothing like what my friends were. My
Oh,
friends,
sure.
dad's a cop, mom's a nurse, dad works for the Catholic schools, mom's an administrator at the hospital. They get up every morning, they're wearing a suit and tie and a skirted, blazer and all this, and they come home and they have their cocktail and whatever. And my dad went to work with bell bottoms, leather ankle boots, and a leather vest he made himself, long hair, John Lennon glasses. And I'm like, something's really different here.
It's not the
No,
same. Oh,
no.
that's
And
pretty cool.
I was so ignorant that I didn't even know that hippie was counterculture until I went to college. I
It was
thought
your
hippie
norm.
was culture. Yeah. No, I learned that it was the counterculture, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been so wrong. So, yeah. So my dad was my dad was a fabulous guy, and his truth telling, his assertiveness, his not taking BS off people, all got all got rubbed off on me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a bittersweet story. And,
It
with,
is. It
yeah,
really is. And it's been so many years now, Stephanie, and I still every year I never know how I'm going to respond.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm okay, sometimes I cry, and I miss my brother, and I honestly think about him every single day. I have his photos all over my house so I can see him. And my book that we'll talk about soon is my homage to him and how much I loved him and how much he loved me.
yeah. Well, and then
Yeah,
the name Leather Soul too. I mean, that's
absolutely.
pays tribute to the building, which for me, like I'm such a historian, so
Yep.
like there's memories and life in a building, I believe. And so for you, I'm sure that that shop was so special, because the memories they live there.
They do. And the shop was like, so I talk about it a lot in the book because that's where my childhood began. And like just to give you a visual, and I can send you photos as well, but like when you walked into the shop, you have the sales floor. And I mean, it's like it's in my head immediately now. The smell of leather knocks you in the face, right? I always go into Wilson's Leather, that store.
Oh
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh God, oh God. And they all look at me like I'm a freak. I'm like, I'm sorry, you just don't know what this does to me. So you walk into the shop, it immediately hits you in the face. And because it went through so many iterations, because my father was for the blue collar Italian dude he was, he sure knew about what was hip.
Mm,
Like every decade he followed the fashions. He dressed
wow.
like a hippie, then well, first his oldest pictures, he looks just like Buddy Holly. He's got a Caesar haircut, thick glasses, and he's very skinny, and he's got the cigarette, and then he becomes a hippie, and then he becomes a yuppie, and then he becomes like the old man he was. And I'm like, he was always so into it. And I'm guessing it's because he had a business, and you
Yeah.
have to know what's hip and wow, right? So some of the advertisements are so funny. Like I forgot what it is. There's a saying they had, something about what was in, I can't remember right now to tell you, but it was like, I'm like, what? That was how they said hip. It was very strange. But you walk into the store and he's got, and it's hard in the book because it changed so much. So I try to just find one image, like to kind of center the reader. But you've got purses hanging on nails all down the wood paneling.
Yeah.
You've got a horizontal rack in the back with these giant, nails just covered with belts.
Oh my gosh.
Belts that he would make when he was not having any customers. So you could buy a belt off the rack. He also did custom belts. And then you've got like tie-dye t-shirts that his employees made. You've got the one display case that's got the bongs and the rolling papers and all this sterling silver jewelry. And then another display case that had like shoe stretchers, shoe polish, anything you could think of, sneaker dye. And then there's these beautiful patchwork curtains that hide the workshop. So then behind the storefront is the playground. Is like Tony and I played in the storefront quite a bit, but like we had our own workshop workbenches that my dad had. They were giant tree stumps.
Oh my
So Tony had
gosh.
one and I had one, and my dad had a big pile of leather scraps, and we would just pull out of there, and we could stamp them with the brass tools and make things.
Whoa. How
Yeah, like,
fun.
well, and what a good way to keep your kids busy.
Yeah.
Like we were learning the trade, even though we didn't know we were learning the trade,
Exactly. On a tree stump, which is amazing.
on
It
a
makes it feel so
tree.
magical.
It absolutely was. And he never told us not to touch anything other than the knives, because they
Sure.
were really sharp knives. And my brother didn't listen, and my brother would cut his thumb and then stick his hand in his pocket, like so my dad wouldn't see it. But like my dad was such a liberal, quote unquote, the big word parent, like go be free. go trek, go run, go to summer camp. We just had so much freedom. And there's pluses and minuses to that, right?
Sure.
I used to walk to the Jewish Community Center by myself when I was 4 years old. And it was like to the west of the plaza. And I've tried to find out how far it is, but I can't really tell on the map. But it was a hike. And I just walk in, 4 years old, messy hair, dirty face, and they'd be like, come on in and give me food. And we'd play Simon Says. And I'm like, I don't know what Jewish Community Center means, but this is a nice place.
Like I'm having fun.
Right. We just had so much freedom. And it's really funny because I got to use okay, so my dad had these work benches that were all made by 2x4s. And you'll see when I send you the photo, but like one of them was his main workbench where he fixed shoes and whatever. Then there was a rear workbench where he made belts and leather crafts. And then there was 2 sewing machines, one for sewing leather, one for sewing zippers, because he did all kinds of repair. And then these giant machines, 2 finishing machines. One was for sanding, one was for polishing. The Landis 12, which was for making the soles on work boots. Like, he had his own manufacturing plant,
Wow.
Just this one dude. Yeah. And I always say, like, watching him work as hard as he did made me never want to work that hard. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I really wanted to go to college. But the irony is, I've always worked my butt off, and I've always worked in customer service, food service, cooking, like that imprint he left on me. I still went to college and I went to grad school, but I have almost always had 2 jobs at a time. Even when I was in the Navy, I worked part-time at a video store.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I don't know what he did, but his modeling of this work ethic has really been the single most, like, if I apply for a job and if I'm in an interview, that's kind of my marker. It's like, I'll work my butt off. Like, and my kids are the same. It makes me super happy because we're passing that down. And my father used to tell me, the only way to make money is to work hard. Now, we know that's not true. Because we've got plenty of people right now that we could look at as models that don't work hard and have lots and lots of money. But that is a very Italian American,
it is,
trait.
Yeah.
So,
like, don't let anybody outwork you.
Absolutely. Kind of. I love that. It's so true. It's so true. People really value that. And that's part of our, the shows that you do that are historic. And ever since I started listening to your show, I've become obsessed with finding documentaries on YouTube about Italian Americans. I think I've watched them all already. And that's the whole thing that helped us secure our place in history and society, was that we worked our butts off.
We did. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and there's stories of, working your butt off in a good way. But you've got even almost like, I'm doing the Angelina Garamoni series right now. Yes. And she worked her butt off, not in good ways, but
no, not in a good way.
I mean, but it's true. We are hard workers. Right.
And so when you were saying the thing about my dad, I know that he really cared about people more than profit. And he had, I'm sure that he fixed things and didn't charge the full amount or, whatever. He made these beautiful panels for a saddle. I will share that with you. The picture I have is really poor quality, but one at a time, we hand riveted the panels that go over a saddle.
Yeah.
Now, he was so allergic to animals, he could not work on a saddle if a horse had touched it.
Oh.
People would come in and he'd like, get it out, get it out, get it out. My throat will close up. I can't work on it.
Gosh.
So, but he could make things that would go on the saddle. So he couldn't do saddle repair, right?
Okay.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
A guy who works with leather is massively allergic to the live animal.
No, yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. So you'd have to just do new stuff.
Yep. But yeah. And I remember being so embarrassed when I was a grown up and I said to him, I've got these like big 8x10s of his work. And I said, where did you get all this stuff? Where did you buy all this stuff? And he looked at me. He's like, Cindy, what do you think I did when we didn't have customers? I made that stuff. And I was like, oh, sorry, I was too busy raising heck.
Right, run it all over.
I was too busy stealing plums from the Grand Union and eating them really quick.
Or putting them back on the counter.
Or putting it back on the counter so Harold couldn't see my bite.
So now going back to your book, is the book a memoir for your father or your brother or combination?
Well, it's interesting you asked because I'm so disappointed in myself. While my dad was still alive, I would send him all of my work, and I was working on poetry mostly at the time. And he was such a really an interesting critic of my work. He's like, I love it. It's great. Everything you write. And I'm like, that was my gauge because I want to be a blue collar writer. I don't want to be highfalutin. Like people who are educated can read my stuff and get stuff out of it, but clarity and for the blue collar worker, for the regular person is what I write for. So my dad was my gauge.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, so he died in 2012. And so with the money he left me, I self-published a poetry book called Suede. See where we're going here?
Yeah.
And so and it was available on Amazon, but it's not in print anymore. And I don't know. But I think I sold like 200 and something copies. Like,
wow.
And that was for my dad because he had just passed away and I was so angry that I didn't get it done before he died.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So this book, Leather Soul, is it says for little Tony because they called my brother Little Tony. And but obviously in the acknowledgments, I'm like, I thank my father, I thank my brother, I thank my little brother, I thank all of my family members because my whole childhood, like outside of the shop, every Sunday dad took us to his dad's house and we had homemade ravioli and we had, you could watch Grandpa make it at the table.
Yeah.
And my dad tells me later, he's like, you know what Grandpa used to do? He said he'd make that huge mess in the kitchen and then go sit down and say, Mommy, go clean it up. My grandpa. They called each other Mommy and Daddy, which is really interesting. I never thought it was weird. I still don't think it's weird.
Yeah.
Only because I think because they had so many kids.
Oh.
Go ask Mommy, go ask Daddy. And then it just stuck.
It just became their names.
It is. It's not weird like sometimes,
Sure. Why are you calling him that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that because it was so normal for us. And I, as an adult, just kind of thought it's got to be go ask Mommy, go ask Daddy, go ask Mommy, go ask Daddy.
It makes total sense.
Yeah. So the book is actually for my brother. And I'll tell you, it has been such an unbelievable labor of love. I've gone through 2 graduate programs. I have workshopped the stories in there, and I just have had the hardest time finishing it. And finally this year, I'm like, I'm done with it. Like it is done. Okay. I can go in and like clip here and there, polish a little bit, but like, I just had to let it go. And, any writer will tell you, you have to abandon your project eventually. But the thing is this, my relationship with my brother was infinitely close because we were 2 years apart and we didn't have a mother. So he and my father were like my protectors, you know? And all through the book, I talk about like dad would say, hey, we're going to go to, get up. It's 11 o'clock at night. Get up. We're going somewhere. We were like, okay, where are we going? Going to the bowling alley. My dad took us to the bowling alley. It's 11:30 at night. And I wasn't in school yet, I don't think, but Tony was. And what did we do? Ate Slim Jims and City Chicken, which is turkey on a stick. Drank sodas, played the jukebox, and then went home and went to bed at 1:30 in the morning. Like it was such an amazing experience. And then when I was 5, my father met our stepmother. And I changed her name in the book because she is the kind of person who would sue me.
Mm.
And from the moment she came into our lives, some really good things happen. Like suddenly we're washing our hair and we're brushing our teeth. Like we have bath time. Who knew? Who knew that you took a bath? Um, and she put me in girls' clothes, which I fought tooth and nail because I am a tomboy, still am. But, she combed my hair and made me look pretty. And then my brother, I didn't wear his hand-me-downs anymore. I had my own clothes. Like, so it's almost like it's so symbolically Edenic, right? Like it was Adam and Eve in the garden with my dad.
Yeah.
And then she comes in and it's knowledge tree, ate the
Mm.
tree, ate the fruit. And now all of a sudden we realized we were ragamuffins. We're not allowed to steal from the stores anymore. Like we're
Yeah.
forced to
That
behave.
innocence was gone in a sense.
Absolutely gone. And the thing that is so painful to me is that the day that my brother was buried, this was a like, and I keep taking it back and forth and from the book because I don't want it to be so melodramatic because that's not good for writing. Dramatic is fine, but not melodramatic.
Sure.
But when they lowered his coffin into the ground, I was like, I have lost my witness to the horrific hurts that this woman put on us as children.
Oh man.
Because with the good stuff, with the meals and not eating out all the time and, being clean and having great holidays, a lot of it was just we were under her thumb and a lot of physical violence. And my dad was the kind of parent that if you got spanked, you sure as heck knew why. Like you
Yeah.
did it. Like
Yeah.
you did something that warranted that.
Yeah, it was a big thing.
It was absolutely. I started a fire behind the Vestal Plaza
No.
when I was 7, and my father whipped me with the belt. The only time he ever did that. And I
Yeah.
knew you started a fire behind my place of business where I have to see my friends at the la. But the stepmother, hers was just, she just had a trigger, hair trigger temper. Lots of trauma in her background, which I know now, didn't know then. So what's mostly tragic about my brother passing away to me was that he went through running away from home, lots of drug use, blackout drunk. And I blame all of it on that loss of innocence and that physical violence.
Yeah.
So the fact that he had to pass away and she's still living somewhere, haven't talked to her since 1997, that's the stuff that makes it even more tragic is like he was just about to hit, like he just turned 21. He was
Yeah.
going to get dad's shop. And when he got killed, he was not drunk. He was riding his motorcycle and a guy kind of hit him and my brother tried to put
Oh,
the bike down, but he died instantly, which is great. So like he did
yeah.
not to suffer, but like imagine how I was so angry.
Oh, I bet.
I
Yeah.
was a very angry 18-year-old girl and that actually, that kind of made me that changed the whole trajectory of my life as I said. So it's like, okay, life is so short and so precious. You got to go into the Navy, get the degree you want, and go be a writer. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's really hard to see that as positive, but at least I can say my brother's death taught me to tell everybody I love you every time you see him.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. And so
Yeah.
now
It was,
you've got the book
yep.
that is for him in a
It's,
sense.
it is, it's, I love you to him. And
Yeah.
it's hard because so many people write memoirs with tragic childhoods, but it is our childhood. Like
It
it's
is.
just the
Yeah.
truth. Um, and basically what I'm hoping is that people can see like, and I love that you said this, you're like, you're resilient. And I was like, I get called that a lot.
Hmm.
It's what I never liked hearing when I was younger, and people would say, "Oh, you lost your brother and you're not crying every single day. You must be really strong." And I'm like, you don't have a choice. Like
Yeah.
when you get someone taken away from you, you can either collapse or you don't collapse. So yes, it's strong, but the strong comes from years of working through all of that and the
Yeah.
grieving and the healing and the memories. And um his death was such a it was such a wake-up call to me.
Yeah.
And that and I knew that I had to be strong for my father because my father was broken hearted.
Oh, I'm sure.
That was his firstborn, his namesake. The pictures of him and Tony, my mom, who I finally met my mother years later, and that'll be in a different book. But when I first met my mother, she said, the minute your father met your brother, he was madly in love.
Oh.
So, I mean, yeah, so I'm like, I can't fall apart. I can't commit suicide. I need to be here for my father. And
Yeah.
finally, once he finally got the nerve to divorce my stepmother, my dad and I became best buds.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's
because yeah, it was just me and him.
yeah, exactly.
So
Well, and what a beautiful thing to pass on to your kids too, who obviously didn't know your brother Tony.
no, they didn't. And I talk
So,
about them. Yes, I love that you mentioned that because my son, first of all, I never thought I was going to have three kids. I had my two, and life took me a different way. And that's not what this show is about. Well, that'll be in another book. But I had my son, Vinny, and his voice sounds exactly like my brother because
oh,
we have that nasally New York scratchy voice thing. And now there's been times I've been in the kitchen and Vinny would come up behind me and I would be like, oh my gosh. So
flashback to my
having
brother.
seriously, having my son has been one of the biggest healing factors I never could have predicted.
Oh, that's
Is
beautiful.
loving, yeah, loving, because they say grief is love with nowhere to go. You've heard
Yeah,
that?
I have. Yeah.
It's so true.
Oh my gosh.
So now that grief, I love Vinny so much, and he's such a different person than my daughters. Like
Yeah,
he he's just this amazing kid who doesn't give a rip what people think about him, and I gotta love that.
absolutely.
When he was a little boy, he's like, my favorite color is purple, and I don't care what people say. It's just so cute.
Oh, that's
And
adorable.
yeah, and what really weird thing happened, Moscow, which I talked about when we first started, was it's this school that loves hands-on education. So kind of Montessori without the Montessori. Like they
Sure.
they they had the kids do their own videos, and Vinny got to play a gnome, like a not a gnome. Um, well, yeah, he like had a cone head, but he was like a goblin.
Okay.
So so they're showing the video, and right about this time, he's probably about 13. And I didn't know it was him. They just showed his legs, his bony, knobby knees. And I had one of those moments where it was so eerie.
Yeah.
That was Tony's stance.
Oh my
That
gosh.
Tony looks just like my Dutch mom, like light brown hair, green eyes, and freckles. Like, and my mom's 5'9". Like I said, her legs go up to here, very bony. And when I saw Vinny in that video, I was like, oh my gosh, I just got the weirdest feeling. It was like seeing
Oh,
my brother reincarnated. It was really, really amazing.
yeah. Yeah. It's eerie and amazing at the same time where,
Yes.
you just have to
Yeah.
question things a little bit.
You absolutely do. Because, you probably see people once in a while, like that are a relative, and maybe they look exactly like their mom. And so you're like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
that's almost eerie. That's what it was like.
Oh my
Instead of
gosh.
the face, it was that way that he moved. I was like, holy cow, holy cow, holy cow, it's my brother.
And it's funny, taking that exact point into a broader aspect. I've heard,
Yes.
maybe through or read, I don't know, when
Yeah.
people go back to Italy, their village that their family
Yep.
came from, that you see some of those same mannerisms, even
Uh-huh.
the facial features and stuff. And
Absolutely.
that's amazing.
Well, I went to Italy when I turned 40. I had a wild hair and I said, I have to go.
Yeah.
Like, I just have to go. The problem is I went with someone who, her main thing was she wanted to go to Venice and I wanted to go to Rome. Oh, I shouldn't say it was a problem. It wasn't a problem. The problem was at the time Naples was knee deep in some problems with mafioso, like
Yeah.
there was garbage all over the streets because the garbage people weren't coming. So we didn't go to Naples. We went to Rome and we went to Venice. And the first thing I noticed when I got there was that my black curly hair was nothing in comparison to the women there. Like,
Yeah.
so I was like immediately just started doing this blowout, like I felt like I was home. I was with,
Yeah.
and everywhere I looked, people were gorgeous. And I know you said you're planning a trip soon, right?
Yep, this next summer.
Okay, so my kids and I are saving right now for we're gonna go to Bologna, we're gonna go
Oh,
to
nice.
Naples. We're actually gonna do the trip there. And I've already contacted I have a cousin named Mario who lives in Calabria. We've been talking over ancestry.
Oh, cool. That's amazing. That's the way to do
Yeah.
it right there is have that connection.
Well, yeah, and he's like, I really want to come to the States. I'm like, you come to the States, boy, I'll help you out. So,
Absolutely. Oh, how exciting.
yeah.
So going back to your book, is the book
Yeah.
ready to, is it published? Is it
No, I'm seeking representation.
okay?
So I'm sending it to agents, I'm sending it to book contests because like even if I send it to 50 places, I'm not going to get accepted at all 50 places. I might not even get accepted at one, right? I know, I've been doing this a long time. So no, what I'm hoping for is representation. And so and if that doesn't happen within the next whatever, I have this Italian woman named Maria Gloria. She just passed away in March. She was 94.
Oh, wow.
She donated money to me to publish it myself.
Oh,
Um, yeah, her dad's name was Vincenzo, and he was a shoe repairman.
oh,
She
that's crazy.
she found me. I published an essay a long time ago, and she found it. It was in Voices in Italian Americana, which
Uh-huh.
is from Bordighera Press, an Italian press, Italian American press. And she found me. She sent me a letter, and we have been friends since 2009. And she just passed away.
Oh,
It was
wow.
heartbreaking. But her husband said, Maria really wanted you to publish your book, so she wanted you to have this money. So I do have money set aside. But after publishing my poetry book, I really want to do it different this time only because um I ran out of books.
Yeah.
Like I'm having to hunt them down at used bookstores and stuff. And you know, this I don't know. I just want to do it different this time. So
Different.
yes,
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, you're gonna have to keep us
yeah,
updated.
I
Um,
absolutely will.
when it, because it'll get
Oh
accepted and
yeah.
then we'll
Oh, look at
promote it
you.
everywhere. So, any other
Great.
projects? I know you were saying that you were thinking about some other books that you have in the future.
Yes, I actually have two other books. They're already drafted. They've been sitting on the shelves forever. One is about being in the Navy
Okay.
because big surprise, I was always in trouble. My big mouth, my Italian, whatever. I love it. In boot camp, they called me Stallone. They'd say Stallone.
That's cute.
Oh, great. Loved it. And then so I have the 4 years of being in the Navy and I find my mom. So that's gonna be
Mm.
important, right? I hired a private investigator and I found my mother.
Oh, wow.
And my dad was not happy. I'm like, it has nothing to do with your parenting. I need to know who I am.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so my mom lives in Massachusetts. We talk. She's very old fashioned, doesn't have a computer, doesn't like talking on the phone. So we write a lot of letters. And then I have another book, 10 years after my brother got killed, my husband died of a liver disorder and I was
Oh,
29 years old. And I'm like, that's when I decided to be a writer. I was like, okay,
yeah,
stories happen to people who can tell them, right? That's what they
for
say.
sure.
And um, like it just was one of those things. And so literally when that happened, I was like, I need to go to writing school. Like I need to learn how to do this. And so
Yeah.
2 books here, and I'm just trying to get this one done, and then I'll get working on the Navy one probably.
Okay. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, wow. What a story. Like, this has been amazing. I really like, I mean, all the way from the mystery that you uncovered to,
Yes.
the 10 years
Yeah.
apart, those tragic events.
I
It's
know. I
crazy.
know. It is crazy. And my father was always like, everybody has a story. Why do you think yours is worth telling? And I'm like, well, that's what you learn in writing school. It's not the story, it's how you tell it.
100%.
I mean, A River Runs Through It, tragic brother death, great memoir. This Boy's Life by Tobias Wolff, abusive step parent, wonderful book. Mary Carr's The Liars Club. Like all of these memoirs that I love are what I want to write. And it's not that my brother died, it's that all of that stuff that comes in with it.
Yeah.
These secrets, the beautiful shop, the leather, the smells, the sounds, the irony of losing him right when he was going to take the shop. Like, I have worked so many years to try to make this something that other people are going to want to read. So
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. You have to keep us updated.
I
I
will. I
will be one of your
will.
first buyers, I guarantee
Okay. Oh, and I will make
it.
sure that I say, great podcaster, Stephanie. So,
Oh, Cindy, this was such a great
okay.
conversation. Thank you so
Oh,
much for coming on and sharing. The listeners are going to love this. This has
I
been
hope so.
riveting.
I'm just so delighted you said yes, because I just love your show. And I thought, I think I have stuff that she might connect with.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
It fit
okay,
perfect.
great. I'm so glad.
Yeah. Well, is
Okay.
there anywhere that the listeners they can follow
Oh,
you or keep up with
yes.
you?
Yes. And actually, they'll motivate me to get off my butt and keep writing because I have, okay, I wrote all this down for you. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, so you can find me on Facebook if you look under Suede, a collection of poetry. I have a page devoted to the book,
Okay.
and you can find tons of photos of my dad's shop, my life now, my collection of husbands. And then I have a blog called The Cobbler's Daughter, and it's on WordPress.
Okay.
And you can find that it's really easy, cindyjoy68.org, because I paid for the domain name.
Okay.
And then I'm on Medium as well, and I'm trying to continue writing. And like I think that my blog is called like something about healing and loss. So like a
Okay.
lot of what I write about is loss and healing, and we're all works in progress. I've
Hmm.
been in therapy my entire adult life. I'm still in therapy because there is no destination. You just
Yeah.
need to keep working at it. And my family wasn't big into therapy, as you can imagine, but I am, and all 3 of my kids, have gone or go. So it's very important to talk about stuff,
Oh,
you
for
know.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I will put all of that in the show notes for our
Okay.
readers. And
Great.
then that way they can follow you. But thank you so much.
Great.
Like this was
Oh,
such a great conversation. We'll have to meet up again and do another collaboration. This was great.
that's great. And thank you so much for having me on, because I really like your show.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Well, have a good
Okay.
day.
Okay.